So LeetCode number 228, summary ranges. So honestly, this problem, you can just skip the description and go straight to the input and output examples. So here you can see that we need to output 0 to 2 when we have all of the numbers that go from 0 to 2. Then we have all numbers that go from 4 to 5. And then we have all of the numbers that go from 7 to 7. So in that case, you don't put an arrow there, you just put the number itself, right? Okay, so the way we're going to solve this problem is with a sliding window. So this is a good problem to learn how to use sliding windows. So what we're going to do is we're going to initialize our result array, because obviously we need a result array. And then later on, we're going to have to return this result array. And now comes the actual problem solving. So the part where you push to the array the ranges, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to use a for loop that moves the end of our current sliding window. So sliding window is just a subarray, so a set of contiguous elements in our array. So we're going to have a for loop that moves forward the end of our sliding window until it is at the bound at the end of the array, right? So we're going to initialize end at 0, meaning that currently we only have this element in our sliding window. And obviously, since it is a window, we also need the start index, and that's 0 as well. So at the beginning, our sliding window is just like that, right? It's just a 0. And then we go forward, we do iterations as long as end is less than the number's length, so as long as we are in bounds. And then what we do is the very common end plus plus. And also another thing that you want to do anytime you do one iteration is you want to sync start with end. So basically you want like end is just being incremented, right? So let's say like our previous sliding window was like this, okay? So now end gets incremented and it goes to 4. So what you do is you want to sync start with the end so that instead of being like this, because if we didn't do start equals end, our new sliding window would be like this, right? So the previous one was like this, and then we increment end. So now it's like this, but we don't want this because we already output 0 to 2. So instead we want to sync the start with the end so that it becomes like this, right? So yeah, that's why we do start equals to end every iteration after incrementing the end. Okay, now what you do is you basically you use up all of the numbers that are in increments of 1 from one another. So for example, these are numbers that have a difference of 1, and then these, and then this is just by himself, right? So you use a while loop for that. So you basically move forward while the difference is 1, right? So if the current number, let's say that end right now is 4, if you look at the next one and you see that the current one is equal to the next one minus 1, like in this case, right? So like 4 is equal to 5 minus 1, then it means that I can extend my range, right? So while this is true, then what we can do is we can increment end. So for example, if the state is end is this and start also points at the same element, what we do is we check if the next element is equal to me plus 1, or rather if this one is equal to the next one minus 1, and it is. And so what we do is we extend the range, so we do end plus plus. So now this is the current range, and then the while loop checks that again and says, okay, is 7 minus 1 equal to the current end? No, it's not, because that would be 6, but here we have 7 instead, right? So that ends the while loop, and then what we do is we check if the end is different than the start, meaning that we have at least 2 elements in our sliding window. And if so, then we need to output a formatted string like this. So yeah, we just do that. We push to our result the starting number, and then the arrow, and then the ending number, right? But if the end is actually the same as the start, meaning that we only have one number, then we just push the number, just convert it to a string. And that's the way you convert numbers to strings. It's at least one way to convert numbers to string in JavaScript. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to submit the solution to show you that it works. And the time complexity here is O of n, where n is the length of the array. And the space complexity is O of 1 if you don't consider the result, the output. but it is O of n if you consider the output as well. So thank you, that's it for me today. Thank you for watching and bye.